Morning everybody, day 25 equals our midweek mobilisations, and we've got 5 lovely mobilisations to do tomorrow, so I hope we all get to enjoy them, and I hope we all get to really take the time to breathe into them, move into them with sort of slow control, so we really give our joints and bodies a little bit of love. I know some of you are worried about feeling behind, so I want to take this opportunity to say that it doesn't matter. Leave what you haven't done, pick up where we are today and keep moving forward with us. If you want to then go back at the end and pick up the days that you missed, great, go ahead and do that. But otherwise, don't worry about it, leave it all behind you, just keep moving forward. Don't let missing those days hold you back even further. Often it's really easy to get overwhelmed with what we haven't done and what we've missed out on, and that stops us from taking steps forward. So scrap it, leave behind what you've left behind already, and just keep moving forward with day by day with the rest of us towards the end. It's only a week. We've only got 1 week left, and that is it. That is Jumpstart January all done. So today we're going to start by getting those hamstrings and sciatic nerves mobilised. Trans hammy, some of you will have done this before. It is one of my favourite exercises to give patients who are struggling with any kind of sciatic nerve irritation, or even just hamstring tension that is so severe that really it is a neuropathic sort of nerve pain they get when they stretch, not just a hamstring pain, not just a muscle pain. Now for this exercise, you put your heel onto a raised surface, but you need it at a height where your pelvis stays level. You don't want to be so high, but you're unflexible that you're having to tip the hip. If that's the case, just put your heel on a lower step, or even have it on the floor. Wherever you're at with your hamstring length, just do what you need to do. Then imagining that your pelvis is that bucket that we've spoken about before. Without tipping or twisting the bucket, I want you to just rotate the bucket round towards that active leg, and then rotate it open. And then we're going to rotate. So essentially, if you imagine headlights on your hip bones at the front here, those headlights are going to pan towards the left and then pan open towards the right. And you're going to do 16 in each direction. So it'll be sort of 16 total moves. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Now, to make it a little bit more intense, you can stick your bottom out and add a bit of a tip to the dynamic. But as you stick your bottom up, you're tipping your bucket forward, and exactly the same applies. So you're still keeping the bucket in the same plane, and then do it on the same leg. Should I close these curtains just in case? There we go, that's a bit better. Okay, then once you've done that on both legs, we're going to move on to your mobile lunge. This is really to get this hip flexor and quadricep flexed after quite a lot of jumping around. So you're going to come into a high lunge on this side. We're going to do 16 on each leg. I want you to really think about what we've spoken about before, where you're stacking the spine. I don't want this leg to be straight to the detriment of an arch, to the detriment of your low back by arching it. So I want you to first of all bend that back leg as much as you can, keeping that back nice and neutral and straight, so there is no arch, it is really tucked and tight. And then from there, stabilizing with your arms on this front leg, you're just going to come into a deep squat, then stretch that leg as much as you can without the back going, thinking about tucking those seat bones underneath the whole time, hips driving forwards. Straighten it as much as you can. You can see I can't get mine straight without letting that happen. So straighten it as much, and then come down to a bend. The knee doesn't go on the floor. And then you straighten and bend. And straighten and bend. And straighten and bend. And you can come as low to the floor, but I don't really want you weight bearing. But essentially you're going from a high lunge to a low lunge, but not letting that leg down. And we're going to do 16 in total. Now this is quite an active exercise, so you're going to feel it in the stabilizing leg buttock, you're going to feel it in the quadriceps on both sides, but you also should really feel a stretch through that hip flexor, particularly the hip flexor on the high lunge. That's when you're really going to feel that through there. As you drop down into a lower lunge, you'll probably feel it lower down in the leg because that toe stays tucked under. 16 on each side, and let me know how that goes because I was feeling my bottom burning there. But there may just be all those squat jumps I've just done. Then we're going to do inside thigh, traveling inside thigh. So I want you to put yourself wide-legged, pigeon-toed slightly. So your toes come in. You're going to hinge forward from the waist, flat back, and you're going to walk your hands over towards the left, and then you're going to walk your hands over towards the right. Now the whole time, your spine is staying neutral in terms of flexion. It may have a little bit of a tip side to side. So if we look from side on, pigeon-toed, bottom goes back, you come forward with a flat back. So if you are not as flexible, you may be a bit higher. If you're super bendy, way more bendy than me, you may be sort of like way further on the floor, but you want to keep your spine straight, and to do that you really have to engage your core. And then you're walking your hands over to the left, and you'll feel that stretching right down the side of that leg as well as the inside thighs. And then you're going to walk over this way, and you're going to do 31 travels in total. And this should feel like a really nice stretch from the inside thighs and the outside of those calves. The more you pigeon toe the toes, the more you turn the toes in, the more you're going to feel it in both inside and outside of the legs. So 31 of those, each travel counts as one. So 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. Please be mindful of your backs with that one. Then we're going to move on to another favourite of mine, the shin box. I don't think we've done this month yet, but possibly. But if we have, I apologise. It'll be interesting to see whether your hips are more mobile though. So heels on the floor, seat bones up, really nice and upright, and you're going to roll onto the knees, and then you're going to roll onto the knees. You're going to roll over your feet, bringing your shins down towards the floor. Now what you're aiming to do is to keep that bottom on the floor. So you can see that actually what I've done is cheat slightly and mine lifted off to be able to get my shin flat. You don't need to do that. I'd rather your seat bones both stay really firmly planted, knees roll in, and then you go the other way. Knees roll in, and you will really feel that mobilizing the ball and socket joint at the top of your thigh in your groin, unless you've got lovely bendy hips, in which case I'm very envious. And so you're going to do 16 of those either way. If any of you have low back pain, isolating and mobilizing your hip joints is a massive, massive factor in aiding the body's mobility in and around the pelvis and the low back. Often I find with people with bad backs, they have very restricted hip joints, and that loss of hip mobility then leads to increased stresses and forces going through the lumbar spine, the low back and pelvis. So if you notice that you have very restricted motion with those hips, really give some TLC to it. It's such an easy exercise to do sat in front of the television, just, you know, a few every morning, a few every evening before bed, just to start mobilizing those hips. It can be pretty life-changing to how well we function in our lower half. So that's the shin boxes, and the reason they're called the shin box is because you imagine a line in front of you. As you roll the leg down, essentially what you're trying to do is create a square box with this leg parallel to that wall. And this is, oh, I don't know, I don't need to explain why they're called what they're called. They are that, who knows why. And then the last one, we're going to do a twisting wave. So we're going to come down into a lumbar twist. So knee comes up to the chest, roll the leg over. This hand then extend, it may actually be easier if I go the other way. Knee up to the chest, roll over, this hand out to the side. And you're just going to, with a bent arm, raise the hand up and then bring the elbow down. Point the hand up, bring the elbow down. And you can do 16 of those on either side, and you should feel that really stretching through that shoulder and through that chest. This hand here is on the knee, just increasing the twist through your low back a little bit. And that should feel really nice. Opening out that chest, 16 on either side. Some lovely midweek mobilisations for us all. I'm looking forward to them, my body's looking forward to them, and I hope you all manage to do them with me. Let me know. Bye.